One night, Archer had a nightmare. In his dream, Matthew came home. But in the blink of an eye, Matthew's body turned into that terrifying old woman. That night, Justine returned to the school. Inside her old classroom, she saw the missing children. One of them even had his face painted like a clown. But it turned out to be nothing but a nightmare. At home, she once again began hearing strange noises. For a moment, she thought she saw an old woman crawling across the ceiling, but it was only a hallucination. This is the story of a school where one entire class suddenly vanished. Out of 18 students, only one boy named Alex was left behind. The mystery began the night before, precisely at 2:17 a.m., when the other 17 children walked out of their homes in a strange and horrifying manner. No one knew where they went. The only clue came from CCTV footage, which showed the exact time they fled. The police interrogated Alex, but he knew nothing. They also questioned his teacher, Justine, but she had no answers either. The school was closed for a month. When it reopened, a meeting was held where furious parents accused Justine, convinced she must have been involved. After all, why was it only her students who disappeared? To protect Justine from the wrath of the parents, Principal Marcus was forced to fire her. Heartbroken, Justine bought liquor to drown her sorrow, but soon after, she began receiving strange phone calls. At home, while drinking, she heard a noise outside the door. When she checked, no one was there. Instead, she found the word witch scratched onto her car. The next day, she begged Marcus to let her work again. But Marcus refused, saying the parents were still angry. When Justine asked about Alex, saying she wanted to speak with him, Marcus refused as well. The police had already interrogated Alex enough. They didn't want to pressure the boy further. Upset, Justine reported the vandalism on her car to the police. Not long after, she waved to Paul, an old acquaintance. They met at a bar, at Justine's invitation. She felt overwhelmed by everything that had happened. Paul turned out to be her ex-boyfriend, though he was now married. Yet still, the two ended up spending the night together. The next morning, Justine drove him back to his car. Not long after, Justine began following Alex, desperate to speak with him. She rang the bell at Alex's house, but no one answered. The windows were sealed shut, and through a narrow crack, she saw the house cloaked in darkness. Alex's parents sat eerily still on the sofa. Frightened, Justine called Marcus, insisting something was terribly wrong in Alex's home and they needed to check. But Marcus snapped at her, warning her to stay away from Alex. One day at a supermarket, Paul's wife Donna suddenly attacked Justine in public, enraged that she had slept with her husband. That night, Justine returned once more to the school. Inside her old classroom, she saw the missing children. One of them even had his face painted like a clown. But it turned out to be nothing but a nightmare. At home, she once again began hearing strange noises. For a moment, she thought she saw an old woman crawling across the ceiling, but it was only a hallucination. The next day, Justine finally confronted Alex on the street. When she asked if he was all right, Alex only replied, "I'm fine," before yelling at her to stop following him and running away. Still determined, Justine went back to Alex's house and knocked over and over, but no one answered. She parked her car out front and decided to wait inside. When night fell, she drifted off to sleep. That was when Alex's mother suddenly stepped out of the house. Her walk was strange and terrifying as she approached Justine, then snipped off a small lock of her hair. The scene then shifted to Archer, father of one of the missing children, Matthew. From this point on, the story was told from Archer's perspective. Archer was broken by the loss of his son. He kept replaying the CCTV footage of the night Matthew disappeared. He demanded answers from the police chief, questioning why Justine hadn't been properly interrogated. Why was she still free? The police chief replied that all the children had left of their own will. No one forced them. It was Archer who spread suspicion about Justine during the parents' meeting. He was also the one who wrote "witch" on her car. One night, Archer had a nightmare. In his dream, Matthew came home, but in the blink of an eye, Matthew's body turned into that terrifying old woman. Archer woke up in terror. The next day, he traced his son's escape route on a map, drawing a line. He then went to the home of another missing child, asking the mother if he could see her CCTV footage. She refused. So Archer waited for her husband to come home and asked him instead. This time, he was allowed. Archer carefully noted the route the boy had taken, then drew another line on the map. He was convinced that at the point where the lines intersected, that was where all the children had gone. On his way there, he saw Justine at a gas station. He approached, ready to confront her. Justine, already aware of his suspicions, said she understood why he had come. But before they could speak further, Marcus suddenly came running toward them. Out of nowhere, Marcus attacked Justine. Archer tried to protect her, but Marcus, drenched in blood, strangled Archer's neck. Now the story shifted to Paul's perspective. His wife, Donna, was leaving on a trip. She said she'd be back soon and asked Paul to pass a message to her father about family dinner. Donna's father turned out to be the police chief. After delivering the message, Paul went to work. That was when Justine contacted him. While driving around town, Paul spotted a junkie named James breaking into a place. Paul chased him down in his car, and after a brief pursuit, he caught him. While searching James, a needle in his pocket pricked Paul's hand. Furious, Paul punched James in the face. Later, he treated the wound. It was then he realized the punch had been recorded by his dashcam. Paul dragged James away and told him he'd let him go, but warned him never to return. Then, Paul reported the incident to the police chief. The chief told him not to worry. Unless James himself filed a complaint, nothing would happen. In a month, the footage would be automatically erased. At that moment, Paul received a message from Justine. To relieve his stress, he went to see her. The next morning, when he returned home, Donna was waiting. The moment she saw him, she demanded to know where he had been all night. Donna realized Paul was cheating. At the police station that day, her father glared at Paul coldly, filled with disappointment. Outside, Paul once again spotted James. He began following him. From here, the story shifted to James's perspective. James wandered the streets, trying car doors, hoping to find one unlocked so he could steal something. He managed to snatch a few items, but when he tried to sell them, no one wanted to buy. Then he tried breaking into a house, but Paul caught him and beat him again. James escaped, stumbling upon Alex's home. Trash was scattered outside, making the house look abandoned. He climbed in through a window. To his shock, Alex's parents sat frozen like they were possessed. Taking advantage of it, James stole kitchen utensils. But when he reached the basement, what he saw made him freeze in terror. 17 children stood there. Before he could react, Alex's parents suddenly rose from their trance. Panicked, James fled. Later, while trying to sell the stolen spoons, he noticed a poster offering $50,000 for information on the missing children. Excited, he called the police. But they didn't believe him. They told him if he had a report, he should come in person to the station. Before he could get there, Paul found him again and gave chase. James ran into the forest. There, he encountered the old woman who had appeared before. Terrified, James hid inside a tent, but soon someone approached from outside. In panic, James stabbed his needle forward, but the one who collapsed was Paul. Enraged, Paul pinned him down. James quickly cried out that he knew where the children were. He could show him. Paul dragged James into his car and drove straight to Alex's house. He left James outside and went in. After a long while, Paul emerged again, visibly shaken. Without a word, he dragged James inside with him. The scene then shifted to Marcus's perspective. Justine had already told him about Alex's house. Worried, Marcus summoned Alex's parents to his office to speak with them directly. But instead, Alex's aunt, Gladys, showed up. She said Alex's parents were ill, and she was staying with them to take care of Alex. Marcus insisted on meeting the parents himself. He said there had been a welfare report. If he could speak to them directly, the matter wouldn't need to go higher. Gladys asked who filed the report. Marcus didn't mention Justine's name. He only said if he couldn't meet them, outside authorities would have to get involved. The scene then shifted to Marcus's home, where Gladys suddenly appeared outside. She said she had missed the bus and had to walk, and now she was terribly thirsty. Marcus's husband led her inside. But instead of asking for a glass, Gladys requested a bowl of water. She carried a ribbon belonging to Marcus. She cut her hand, smearing blood on the ribbon. Then she cut Marcus's husband's hair, rang a small bell, and tied the hair to a branch before snapping it. At that very moment, Marcus was driven to attack his husband. Under hypnosis, he killed him. Gladys then dropped the branch into the water, making Marcus stop. After that, Gladys attached Justine's hair to another branch. That forced Marcus to turn on Justine, compelling him to kill her. He attacked, but Archer arrived and saved her. Justine ran into a store, Marcus chasing her relentlessly. Though Archer tried to stop him, Marcus would not relent. Justine leapt into her car and sped away, Marcus sprinting after her. At that moment, Marcus was struck by a vehicle and killed. It was then Archer realized Justine was not guilty. She too was only a victim. They spoke, and Justine said the last time she saw Marcus, he seemed perfectly fine. Archer explained that the way Marcus ran reminded him of something. The missing children had also run the same way. He then showed her the map with the intersecting lines he had drawn. Justine looked at the spot and said Alex's house was right there. The story then shifted to Alex's perspective. His tale began when everything was still normal. One day, Alex's father picked him up from school. He said his mother's aunt, Gladys, would be staying with them for a while. Gladys looked extremely old and frail, carrying a strange plant with her. She looked ancient. But the next day, Alex's father didn't pick him up. Alex had to walk home alone. When he arrived, he found his parents sitting stiffly at the dinner table. Strangely, Gladys looked younger than before. Alex tried pouring water on his father, but nothing changed. The next day, nothing was different. His parents were the same. Gladys warned Alex never to tell anyone about her. Then, right in front of Alex, she performed a ritual on his parents. Suddenly, they hurt themselves. Alex tried to stop it, but Gladys halted the ritual and said, "Now you understand, don't you? If you disobey, this is what will happen." Terrified, Alex stayed silent and went to school. That night, he came home, and under Gladys's orders, he fed his parents with his own hands. The next day, Alex even bought food for them. But one day, Gladys grew weak again. She had drained his parents' life energy, but it was no longer enough. She told Alex that tomorrow he must steal something from each child in his class and bring it to her. With those items, she said she would recover and finally leave their home. To save his parents, the next day, Alex stole the name tags of all the children in his class. That very day, Justine noticed something. She asked, "Alex, you've seemed so quiet lately. What's wrong?" Alex shook his head and replied, "Nothing." Gently, Justine told him, "If something's wrong, you can always tell me." But Alex only walked away. That night, Gladys used the stolen items for her ritual. Because of it, all the children were hypnotized to leave their homes at midnight and walk into her house. The police investigated, but terrified Alex told them nothing. Every time the police came, Gladys hid the children in the woods, so the house always appeared normal. Meanwhile, Alex was forced to feed his parents and all the children with his own hands. One day, he even saw Paul standing entranced inside the house with James behind him. Gladys then ordered Alex to pack, saying they would leave tomorrow. That night, Alex saw Justine and Archer outside the house. They noticed a police car parked nearby, thinking an officer was inside. Paul suddenly stepped out of the house and signaled Justine to come closer. Justine and Archer entered, but as soon as Justine crossed the salt line on the floor, Paul and James attacked her. Upstairs, another salt line was drawn before Alex's parents. When Alex accidentally crossed it, his parents immediately chased him. To escape, Alex ran into Gladys's room. Downstairs, Justine shot Paul in the neck, but he didn't stop. To end it for good, Justine shot him in the head. She also shot James in the head to protect Archer. Meanwhile, Archer searched the basement, hoping to find his son. Instead, he came face to face with Gladys. Upstairs, Alex grabbed one of Gladys's plants and went into the bathroom. With his own blood, he began a ritual. Downstairs, Archer, now controlled by Gladys, captured Justine. But Alex placed Gladys's hair on the branch and snapped it. At that moment, all the children turned against Gladys. She fled, but they chased her into town, then caught and killed her. With Gladys dead, James was freed from her control. But since he had only been possessed briefly, he returned to normal. The other children did not. They only stood motionless, still trapped in a strange state. Alex's parents as well. Even after 2 years, they never returned to normal. A year later, some of the children slowly began to utter a few words. And with that, my friends, this story comes to an end. What do you think of this chilling mystery? Write your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoy stories like this, don't forget to hit like and subscribe. so you won't miss other terrifying films.